Several Oklahoma cities clean up after storms swept the state. Sanctuary cities might be in trouble under Trump's new executive order. And the subject of an Amber Alert last week speaks out. This is Bullet Broadcast. Hello and welcome back. I'm Sam Stockard. Overseas conflict with North Korea is only growing by the day. With the growing threat of war, the U.S. has launched warships and submarines that are all moving towards the Korean peninsula and are all said to arrive by the end of April. The U.S. isn't the only country who's preparing for conflict. Japan and South Korea have both stepped up their defenses and have been practicing evacuation drills should danger hit. Meanwhile, China has attempted to play the middleman in the conflict by trying to negotiate deals between the U.S. and North Korea. But ultimately, all deals have been turned down by both sides. On Wednesday, all 100 senators were called to the White House for a special briefing on the conflict in North Korea, and were discussing ways of dealing with it. With tensions high across the globe, it's hard to say what would set off a war. Bruce Bennett, a senior defense analyst at the Rand Corporation, said that, quote, "The real question now is somebody going to make a stupid mistake, because some kind of minor escalation could get out of hand," unquote. And over here in the States, President Trump has been having some trouble. On Tuesday, a federal judge in San Francisco blocked the Trump administration from enforcing a threat to take away funds from sanctuary cities that do not cooperate with federal immigration enforcement. A sanctuary city is defined as a city that limits its cooperation with the national government to help people who are in the country illegally and want to avoid deportation. The president was less than pleased by this new ban and tweeted this out, quote, "First, the Ninth Circuit rules against the ban, and now it hits again on sanctuary cities. Both ridiculous rulings. See you in Supreme Court," unquote. The Trump administration has been having these problems with the court ever since Trump took office, and there are sure to be appeals and court reviews about the blocks in the future. But the blocks haven't stopped the president from signing more executive orders. Wednesday morning, President Trump signed his latest order that will make lawmakers review a law put in place in 1906 that gives the president power to set aside land for federal protection. This could mean that land put aside within the last couple years could lose federal protection and money. No word on what land or monuments could be at risk, but the president has stated that the purpose of the law is to end a, quote, "egregious abuse of power," unquote. April showers have blanketed Oklahoma this past week, and cities across the state are dealing with the damages. Power outages were reported throughout eastern Oklahoma from Bartlesville to McAllister. The Oklahoma Association of Electric Cooperatives reported about 300 Oklahoma residents woke up without power yesterday morning. Adair in Mays County is cleaning up damages, roofs, and fallen trees due to the storm. The city of Stillwater announced road closures for Thursday, April 27th. The intersection of 10th and Main will be closed to repair a water line service. The city says crew will clean up the main street south of the roundabout to the middle of 10th Avenue. The closure should not last more than 24 hours. The woman who was the subject of an Amber Alert for abducting her children in Payne County tells her side of the story. Sarah Lewis told News on 6 that her boyfriend and his sister lied to a judge, claiming Lewis smoked meth around them in an effort to remove them from the house. Lewis also claimed she was trying to leave an abusive relationship and took her kids with her out of fear. The report states Lewis turned herself in and passed a drug test, proving she had been clean for at least 10 days. She will go on to court on May 2nd to try to get her children back. Residents in Stillwater might notice a slight increase on their trash collection bill. The Stillwater Utility Authority voted on April 17th to raise the cost for residential waste collection. The increase will vary depending on the size of the reciprocal, according to the Stillwater News Press. Officials said this vote is in response to an audit that found about 40% of all material that go through the program are non-recyclable. Some are worried it will decrease participation, but nonetheless, they hope this increase will be an incentive for people to use recycling carts correctly. And speaking of recycling, Skyline Elementary hosted their annual recycle drive in honor of Earth Day last Saturday. Reporter Robin Hearn has more.
This past Saturday, Skyline Elementary hosted their annual recycle drive in honor of Earth Day. Stillwater citizens could come by the school and drop off some of their old washers, dryers, and even a couple donated a camper that could be recycled later on. For the past 5 years, Northern Oklahoma Metals has partnered with Skyline Elementary during the recycle drive. Director John Boone feels this is an important time for kids to get interested in recycling.
Because the children need to understand recycling. Children need to understand that a lot of stuff goes to landfills every year because scrap metal is our business.
Along with the recycle drive, students have been participating in the Great American Can Race since last November, collecting cans for the aluminum. Gifted and talented teacher and director of the recycle drive, Annie Ortiz, feels that this drive is a great way to build student leadership skills.
It helps develop leadership skills with kids, being able to advertise, take the role in things, help the community develop this program.
All the students had a blast with their parents and teachers helping those that were donating metal. Also, they handed out donuts and coffee. This is another great way to get the students involved with recycling to help bettering the Stillwater community. For Bullet Broadcast, I'm Robin Hearn.
All the proceeds from the drive will go back into the school's funds for future projects. And as always, Montel is joining us once again. Hey, Montel.
How you doing, Sam?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Man, I cannot get over how successful the Cowgirls softball team is. Last season, the team finished with 32 wins and 26 losses. This season, they have already reached that win total and only have 17 losses. They're on a different level. The team took on the Red Raiders of Texas Tech this past weekend and didn't disappoint. The first game, OSU squeezed by with a 2-1 victory. Kristen Reisner scored a walk-off single to ensure the victory. For game 2, the Cowgirls gave the Red Raiders no chance as they put up a 9-1 hurting. Finally, the third game came down to the wire, and again, Reisner wasted no time coming in the clutch. She hit her second walk-off to give them the 6-5 win. The Cowgirls will return to action on Friday to take on Baylor for a 3-game set. From the diamond to the basketball court, the work of new Cowboys head coach Mike Boynton has come to fruition when Kendall Smith, a former ESPN Top 100 recruit, announced he will sign with Oklahoma State for next season and will be immediately eligible. The 6'3" senior guard averaged 16.7 points and almost 5 assists per game. He was also a 2-time All-Big West Conference selection. After losing Jawan Evans to the draft, getting Kendall Smith and freshman Zach Dawson and Michael Weathers, who have to sit out a year, the blow may not be so bad. Not to mention Jeffrey Carroll coming back, the Cowboys are in good shape for a bounce-back season. Well, while we all wait for basketball season to come, let's embrace what women's tennis has accomplished. The program has notched its second straight Big 12 regular season title. After defeating Iowa State this past weekend, the Cowgirls won its 4th championship in the Big 12 era. Next for the women's tennis is the Big 12 championship, where OSU will open up as the number 2 seed. The first opponent is unknown. More details on which team they will face and the time is to come in the future. Like the women, men's tennis will also be the 2 seed for the Big 12 tournament in Norman. Matches for both will be available to watch on Flow Tennis, and the championship games will be aired on Fox Sports. Okay, that is all the time I have for you guys today. Be sure to catch me on the next episode of Bullet Broadcast. Sam?
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to tune in next week for our last episode of the semester. For Bullet Broadcast, I'm Sam Stockard.
And I'm Montel Vidot.
We'll see you next week.